Hello learners, I welcome you all to the last segment of lecture 27. So in this segment we will look at the tribunal decision with regard to article 1106 and article 1110, and also I will give my concluding remarks about this particular case. In case of the allegation that Canada has violated article 1106, which is a PPR requirement, prohibition on performance requirement, S.T. Myers argued that when Canada imposed an export ban, that means they want the PCB waste to be disposed within the country itself. So, therefore, they are forcing the investor to consume Canadian goods and Canadian services, which is a prohibited performance requirement under Article 1106. This was what S.T. Myers was saying, that this amount, the export ban amounts to a performance requirement. But if we look at Canada, Canada stated that export ban is not a there is a list of prohibited performance requirements under Article 1106, and export ban is not one of them. That's what Canada argued. Canada also stated that even if a tribunal finds a violation of Article 1106, that if it finds this to be a performance requirement which is prohibited under Article 1106, Canada wanted to invoke the exception of Article 1106, that is this was a measure taken for the human life or plant life, health and all of that, and for conservation of natural and exhaustible resources and all of that. So, it wanted to invoke the exception under Article 1106. This was Canada's argument. The tribunal stated it will not merely look at the form of the measure, but it will look at the substance of the measure. Then it looked at the interim order, looked at the requirements that the interim order was putting on S.T. Myers, and then the tribunal concluded that there was no such requirement that was put on S.T. Myers that essentially fell within the scope of Article 1106. Therefore, there is no violation of Article 1106. This is what the majority of the tribunal had decided. However, Dr. Brian Schwartz had differed from the majority opinion, and he concluded that Canada had violated Article 1106, the PPR provision. Why? Because as per Dr. Brian Schwartz, he said that the introductory words of Article 1106 says that measure that is arbitrary or unjustifiable manner. That's a word that is, those are the words that is used in Article 1106, and anyway, they're already decided that this is a measure that's arbitrary. So, a measure that is arbitrary would also, in substance, would also run afoul with one or more prohibition that is mentioned in Article 1106, and therefore, Article 1106 is violated by Canada in this particular case. This was what Dr. Brian Schwartz, one of the arbitrators in this case, had stated. Okay, so coming to the next issue of Article 1110, which is an expropriation provision, the tribunal first stated that what amounts to expropriation. Basically, it explained the scope of expropriation. So, it stated that there can be deprivation that may amount to expropriation. Obviously, in this case, there is no transfer of property, no transfer of title directly or indirectly, that are not taken place, right? What had taken place is a deprivation. So, the tribunal stated that deprivation can also amount to expropriation even if it is partial or even if it is temporary. This is where I want you all to make a note. The S.T. Myers Tribunal stated that temporary deprivation can also amount to expropriation. I want you to look at paragraph 243 of the partial award in this case, where S.T. Myers Tribunal had made this statement. If we look at Iran-US Claims Tribunal and many other tribunal that was decided after S.T. Myers case also, before S.T. Myers case also, all of them have stated that this particular fact of the deprivation should not be ephemeral. In Iran-US Claims Tribunal, ephemeral word was used, and that was subsequently followed by other tribunals also. Look at Vena Hotels versus Egypt. There also the tribunal stated that the the measure should not be ephemeral, right? So that is the fact that it should not be temporary has been given lot of importance while deciding the expropriation case. But ST Myers tribunal stated that even if the deprivation is partial or temporary, still there is a possibility of expropriation. So this is something very unique about ST Myers tribunal. I mean, probably the investors could use this paragraph 243, to cite in favor of their investors, and hosted obviously cannot cite this thing, right? So that's what about the scope of expropriation. I mean, the tribunal, ST Myers tribunal, undoubtedly gave a very vast interpretation of the scope of expropriation, but still went ahead and stated that in this case there is no expropriation. And how did it do so? The tribunal stated that Canada's measures had, created, it was temporary because eventually in February 1997 they opened up the border. So what had happened here was that as per tribunal, this was only a delayed opportunity that the ST Myers got. So eventually it opened up. So this is a delayed opportunity. Since it's a delayed opportunity, it cannot rise to the level of expropriation in the Article 1110. Maybe this fact that there was a delayed opportunity could influence the quantum of compensation for the violation of other provisions of NAFTA, but it definitely cannot rise to the level of expropriation under Article 1110. That is how it was concluded. And the fact here is, ST Myers case is a very interesting case because the final measure comes from the United States, which is the home state of the investor, right? So the investor, can he bring a claim against the US government? No. And this is also, it relates to export and import of goods. So it involves, there is also trade dispute. So there are other provisions of NAFTA that may be applicable. In fact, initially Canada was contending that in the jurisdiction stage, the Chapter 11 is not applicable. What they are doing is merely a service, and this is something that is covered under other chapters of NAFTA. Chapter 3 talks about trade in goods. Chapter 12 talks about trade and services. So maybe, the measure is covered under other chapters but not under Chapter 11, that is what Canada was initially contending. And even here the tribunal also stated it looked at certain EC Bananas case and certain other cases where the appellate body in the context of World Trade Organization also had stated that sometimes a measure may fall under GATT if it is trade in good, or it may fall under GATS, and there may be a third sort of a measure that may fall under both, and there is no clarity as to which instrument is applicable. Is it GATT or is it service? You might have heard about servification of good, or you might have heard about goodification of service. For example, smartwatch. Smartwatch is a good, but there are apps and all of that you have it, right? So those are the things that there are service elements to it. So if you look at smartwatch particularly, you cannot completely categorize it as good or service. So that complication has, that may be there. So this has been clarified by the appellate body in the context of WTO jurisprudence, that multiple instruments could simultaneously apply on one particular thing. That's the case that the tribunal also stated that in this particular case also, it could be a trade dispute or it could be an investment dispute. But in case of Chapter 3 or Chapter 12, then US had to file a case against Canada. Will US do that? Because US was the one who had finally closed the border. Then why would it espouse the cause of ST Myers is a question. But in case of Chapter 11, an investor can directly bring a case against Canada, right? Now essentially in this case, Canada was held to be violative of few provisions of NAFTA, right? So here compensation will be paid to ST Myers for a measure. If you look at the final measure that had come from the United States, the home state of the investor, still the investor was able to get compensation from Canada, right? So that's probably the power play or the asymmetrical structure that currently exists in international investment law comes to the forefront. The same measure, can there be a trade dispute? The possibility of bringing a trade dispute is nil, because US is not neither under NAFTA nor in World Trade Organization. That's not going to happen. US is not going to challenge Canada for something that it had closed the border. So, but the possibility still existed for the investor under Chapter 11 arbitration. Right. With that, I conclude. I mean, I want you to think more about this asymmetrical nature when investor can get a claim against a host state for an adverse effect on the investment. Right. Think about it from this line. When other remedies are not available, still a remedy, an ISTS is easily available to an investor. With that remark, let me conclude the lecture 27. In the next lecture, we will look at one other case. Thank you.